This widely circulated footage shocked many overseas Chinese. They felt the communal kitchen of the past was back, when the big wok of food was cleared in 2 minutes and made the audience wonder if China was having a food crisis, or whether the local villagers were impoverished and too hungry. Later, some netizens said that the scene was a local custom for weddings in some parts of rural China. On the day before the wedding, food will be cooked in an open-air wood-fired cauldron in a large courtyard. When it's ready and served in a big wok, villagers will surround the wok and snatch up the food. It has reminded the Chinese people of the communal kitchen from the past. To some extent, it indicates that this nation has a deep historical memory of the past. Now people are worried that the era might return. Over the past few days, Chinese media have been reporting on the One Village, One Canteen project that's about to be launched. The project has been widely circulated on social media platforms in China. It says that in order to solve the problem of dietary safety and nutrition in rural areas, a public canteen will be set up in each village so that peasants can have inexpensive and nutritious meals. The price of each meal would be between 2 and 5 yuan, that is, between 30 US cents and 70 US cents. For example, China's mainland media Toutiao, or Today's Headline, published an article on September 13, 2023. It was titled, "The One Village, One Canteen project will soon be fully launched and implemented. The price of each meal is only 3 to 5 yuan." It sounds like the communal kitchen or big pot rice in Chinese is coming back. What is the communal kitchen or big pot rice? It refers to the period of people's commune in the rural areas and the Great Leap Forward under Mao Zedong, when people didn't cook at home but went to the communal kitchen to have their daily meals. At that time, individuals weren't allowed to have any private property, and all the supplies were distributed evenly, so the people followed the Chinese Communist Party or CCP and headed for communism. Prior to the slogan, "One Village, One Canteen," community kitchens were already implemented in urban areas in China. We have previously reported on this topic.
The state-run canteen is open for business. Let's try how the food tastes in a state-run canteen.
On October 31, 2022, China's Ministry of Housing and Construction and Ministry of Civil Affairs issued a joint notice requesting each city and region to select 3 to 5 communities to start a pilot project of building a complete community. The plan is to implement the idea nationwide in 2 years' time. It's to construct large packages of essential services, including communal canteens. There's a place in Haidian district where I saw some small canteens from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. yesterday. It was quiet and empty. This is a kind of retrogression in thinking. It has no innovations. It just wants to control people's economic life, food, clothes, shoes, and hats, etc. It's not a market economy, but if the people can still buy and sell freely, the outcome will definitely be soaring prices, food shortages, and scarcity of goods. It's impossible to go on. Now the wind of this policy is blowing from the urban areas to the rural areas. In the article, the future of the countryside is described in this way. The One Village, One Canteen project aims to build centralized canteens in rural areas to solve rural people's dietary concerns. For many rural areas, this is a revolutionary initiative. It claims in the past, peasants had to spend a lot of time and energy preparing food, but now, with the One Village, One Canteen program, peasants can save time and better engage in farm work. In short, the full implementation of the One Village, One Canteen program will bring great changes to rural areas. A large number of netizens left comments in the comments section of the above article. Some netizens mocked, "It's a big joke. How can we go to eat 5 miles away?" This is a way for village officials to get rich. The number of people who stay behind is not as large as the number of people who cook, so what's the point of cooking? The old people can't afford to eat even if it costs 3 yuan. The monthly pension of 130 yuan is not enough to feed them for 20 days, and they have to go hungry for more than 10 days, not to mention the headaches and fever. Some people also think of prepared food. What is prepared food? Prepared dishes are prepackaged dishes that are processed and cooked in advance. In order to make the packaged dishes last longer and stay fresher, additives are usually added. If an analogy is drawn with a food product, it can be said to be similar to instant noodles. In February 2023, the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, issued an important document known as Document 1. In this document, it's written, "Enhance the standardization and normalization of industries such as clean vegetables and central kitchens, and cultivate the development of the prepared vegetable industry." And this is the first time the prepared vegetables have been included in the #1 document of the central government since its introduction. Now that the prepared vegetables have been introduced into school campuses on a large scale, the huge room for corruption in the operation process and the poor quality of the vegetables have triggered panic and protests among parents. Some analysts are speculating, this is the next step of pre-made food. It's entering the rural canteens right away. Virtually no one is optimistic about the future of the rural canteens. Netizens wrote, "With the current social climate, it isn't time to run village canteens. Please first clean up rural corruption first. Otherwise, the corrupt family will eat meat and the ordinary people will drink soup." What you see here doesn't look like a wedding, but more like a rural event where the host serves up dishes in a big wok style. The language used by the chef, a peasant, brings the Chinese people back to the 1950s when the communal kitchen was practiced. The meal is ready. Don't fight, don't fight. Pingshan people don't fight for food. Come and eat now. The food is ready. There is a lot of food, enough for everyone. The communal kitchen is a memory of a generation of Chinese people, and even a kind of sentiment. In recent years, as the Central Committee of the CCP continues to add red elements to the lives of today's Chinese, food vendors may have been inspired to start a business in the form of big pot rice. They have started catering businesses in communities where towns and villages meet. A new restaurant has just opened in our neighborhood, serving food in the big pot rice style. It's popular and inexpensive, ranging from 5.9 to 7.9 yuan, with the most expensive being deep-fried pork, which is 7.9 yuan per serving. There are also noodles at 6.9 yuan per serving, and soups at 5.9 yuan per serving, all of which are dishes that are common to all households. However, once the CCP takes a serious step to implement the communal kitchen policy, it will be a different story. Many Chinese people find it terrifying, worrying whether the Cultural Revolution 2.0 is coming. 90% of people don't think it's a good idea, and the people have severely criticized it. For more than a decade since Xi Jinping came to power, he's been making a lot of fuss and meddling with people's lives in different aspects. Let's take the rural areas as an example. First, he started to renovate toilets for the people, but now it can be said that 90% of the toilets are deserted. Then he mobilized the people to build biogas tanks. From the current response, most of them have been abandoned. After that, the people weren't allowed to use the clay stoves for cooking. That is, the clay stoves were sealed up, and only natural gas could be used for cooking, and this has also tormented the people a lot. In fact, the worst part of what he did was to prevent the people from burning haystacks. This matter is now getting very serious because if the government doesn't allow it, the people will stop planting, and the consequences will be terrible. In the past few days, the government has begun to promote one village, one canteen to solve the problem of feeding people. Upon hearing it, people feel like they are time traveling because the communal canteen in 1958 happened not too long ago, and those who are a bit older, say around 70 years old, still have memories of it. What was the outcome of the communal kitchen? 40 million people were starved to death in China. Now it's going to start up again. What will happen afterward? Although I dare not say that people will starve to death, surely it'll be huffing and puffing, a waste of resources. During the epidemic, community canteens were set up with the pretense of solving the problem of feeding people. The final outcome was that after 3 months, all the canteens have now closed down. The reason is that the government made the cost too high, but the price couldn't be too expensive since it was under the banner of benefiting the people. A business with no profit margins has no incentive for the operators, and the food quality couldn't be guaranteed. So they collapsed shortly. Public information shows that in the era of the communal kitchen, all villagers and residents in the commune went to eat in one place collectively. They weren't even allowed to cook their own meals at home, a pattern that began in 1958. People's canteens took all the peasants' privately owned grains and food, cooked it centrally, and then allocated it to all the commune members according to their needs. Some people figuratively called it eating a big pot of rice. In July 1958, the People's Daily reported that public canteens had been set up in some areas of Hunan, Hubei, and other provinces and promoted them in a high-profile manner. On November 10, 1958, the editorial of the same newspaper pointed out that the slogan, "Drum up all your energy to produce and open your belly to eat," was a very good one. When the communal kitchen first began, everyone was enthusiastic and thought that solidarity made a strong force. In no time, millions of communal kitchens appeared all over the country, and everyone was eating big pots of rice in the communal kitchens. At the beginning, the people were all smiles, and they even made up all kinds of rhymes to praise this event. The government also thought that the establishment of public canteens was a good policy of saving food and eliminating waste, which not only alleviated the people's burden of living, but also allowed everyone to live an equal communistic life. According to incomplete statistics, in October 1958, there were 2.65 million communal canteens in the rural areas, and the number of people who ate in the canteens accounted for 70 to 90% of the total population. However, due to massive waste, the limited food reserves of the communal canteens were quickly depleted, leading to subsequent food shortages. At the same time, the Great Leap Forward began in early 1958. Food production was inflated by village leaders, and the government levied food according to the inflated production. In order to complete the food procurement quota, some localities created special teams for tapping potentials. They searched each village and each household, first searching for grain, then seizing whatever they could find and taking whatever they liked. In the end, the land, houses, grain, labor, farm animals, farm tools, as well as poultry, pots, pans, bowls, ladles, and spoons of the peasants were all confiscated and communalized. Since 1960, the economy regressed and the peasants were generally malnourished. The consequences of the Great Leap Forward in the communal kitchen were so disastrous that it resulted in the most tragic and unnatural deaths during a peaceful period in modern history. According to Wikipedia, it's estimated that between 15 and 55 million people starved to death during the 1958-1962 famine in China.
The One Village, One Canteen program is a plan to centralize the management and emissions of households that burn fire for cooking, thereby effectively improving the quality of the rural environment. When this news came out, netizens immediately exploded, saying, "Isn't this just another form of communal kitchen?" There is no need to study economics. Even those who graduated from high school and whose brains aren't broken will know that things that violate market rules can't last long. Some netizens wonder if communalization is happening again. Are we going back to the 1960s? The previous experience was that at first there was meat, and then only vegetables, and then only porridge with a bit of salt, and finally there was nothing left. Some netizens are worried that the planned canteen is state-run in nature. It's better to leave it to the private sector. A state-run operation will lead to a large number of iron rice bowls and a large number of financial subsidies. If not run by the private sector in accordance with the market, it will be a massive closure and can't last for long. Some time ago, community canteens were set up in towns and cities, and now a communal canteen is to be set up in the countryside. This is, in fact, a return to the communal kitchen in the 1950s and 60s.
As a matter of fact, villagers in China can solve their own problems. The Chinese media reported a happy canteen in Jiangxi province. Elderly people over the age of 65 and children under the age of 14 can eat for free at this happy canteen. There are three main ways to finance the happy canteen. First, a crowdfunding approach for the public good. That is, villagers between 22 and 59 contribute 1 yuan per person per day. Second, the collective revenue of the village. And third, donations from caring people in the village. Some relatively wealthy villagers contributed to this happy canteen. In order to standardize the management and supervision of the happy canteen, the village has set up a transparent account to publicize the daily expenses of the happy canteen and settle the general account every month. A village council is in charge of running the canteen. It's difficult to trace the origin of the modern practice of celebrating a happy event in a Chinese village by eating from a large cauldron. Perhaps a generation of people have retained memories of the era of the Cultural Revolution, or perhaps the economic hardship has resulted in today's villages where people have become accustomed to scrambling for food on such occasions. China has always been a country of rituals and etiquette, emphasizing modesty and humility. This custom of scrambling for food seems to go against the traditional culture that has been passed down for thousands of years. Imagine if such a scene became the norm in rural life. It would probably suck. In China, almost everything that the CCP has its hands in and that the government forces on the public rarely turns out well. Now the CCP is pushing communal canteens, followed by one village, one canteen, and then another great leap forward. Then the Cultural Revolution version 2.0 would emerge seamlessly. If this scene is played out every day in the villages of China, the villagers will soon find it no longer funny. This is why some people say that there is no history in China, only cycles of reincarnation. This time, the cycle of People's Commune-style canteens is 60 years.